Welcome back, everybody. Here we go again. So what's next in our... We need a code lock. That's what we need, isn't it? Code lock and nails, I believe. Code lock, sorry, and tools. Where are we? We're there. Nothing in here I need. Why will we be going in this direction? It's been a few days. It's been 24 hours. You know how my brain isn't. Oh, we were going to hit the airfield? Okay. That's what we're doing then. Hi, John. How are you, mate? You good? Hopefully you are. And hopefully you can hear me okay. I think you should be able to hear me. It's showing audio on the control panel. And I'm good, thank you. The mods I've added today are, instead of loot crates, I have a plan. I'll probably talk to you about it offline, but long term, I'm starting to build up the mods we'll be using next year when we have our own hardware. I have this idea of, rather than loot crates, you have a radio finder that sends you off all over the map looking for hidden caches that regen every so many hours. A very cunning plan, but it will take a lot of work. It's not that sort of thing that I can go, right, here's a server. It'll be a let's start developing the server, it might come out a year later type plan. Does that make sense? Because when I launch it, it won't be a like this, it'll be a for everyone to play server, and it has to be 100% ready to go with no problems. So once I've moved, I will, when I can afford to, I'll buy the hardware, I'll set the Windows server up, and I'll start to build it, and it will take as long as it takes to get right. But I intend to make a really good survival server. And this one will keep running until the money runs out, which is end of January. But ultimately, I have an idea for a very, very good survival server with missions and quests and things to do. That's probably a 50-slot server, because that's what we'll be aiming for. That allows duos. But a lot of the stuff that I'm planning, I will send you an email about, because I don't want to mention it on chat. It certainly won't be called Goblin Z, because it has to be called something that attracts players, and Goblin Z doesn't. And it will cost me money to do, because I'm going to have to buy LBs, groups and things like that to make it professional. So there will be a cost implication to have it, whether I like it or not. But I have some ideas forming. We've got a SIG mag, haven't we? No, we've got a spear mag. No, I can instant message you on Discord. That's fine. That's all I need, mate. Is because that's a private message anyway. Not even got a base yet, but I'm not playing this anywhere near as much as you are. Slots. What's mine? 25. Mine's red. That's not red. Swap that over. Get rid of them because they'll despawn because they're not allowed in the new files. So a lot of the mods that I'm putting on now for this private server is actually testing stuff for the future to see how it fits in. Some stuff I can't test because of the nature of how the hardware I can't afford. Well, sort of. Yeah. But I've got a lot of ideas, and they're not all of them will make it, as we know, because it's the nature of what we're doing, or what I'm doing, is not all mods will work together. And I might not be able to afford the hardware to do what I want to do, because it ain't cheap. So I'm going to have to build a whole PC just dedicated, and then pay for a very fast internet connection that's dedicated. So I might not be renting it anymore, but I'll still be paying a massive amount of money out just to get a working system in place. Actually put that down there. Throw that up there. Take that one to there. Take that one up to there. Merge them. But I have, as I said, I've got some ideas for me that I'll run past you, and the how I'm feeling about it doesn't mean that they'll make it into the final build. But it won't be till this time next year, probably. I think there'll probably be 6 months where we don't have anything just because I'm building something, and I don't want to have the players who are going to be playing it to experience it ahead of time, because that's not fair. It means it's not. It means you know what you're doing. It's not a fresh experience, and I want to do it on a dedicated server, so I've got more control over things like AI. Like this, I know I can only have 9 AI on, and then it crashes, and I want to have more because of what I want to run. And that doesn't mean I want AI everywhere. That just means my vision for the use of AI is different. And I want to have as many people play it as possible. So we've got some weapons. We now need an axe and a code lock. We've got 2 boxes of nails. And we need to hit a med centre as well and see if we can find ourselves a scanner. We need a gas mask and and sets of filters ready for gas zones. So the idea of the radio beacons, at the moment there's only 4 beacons in place, but I will have, I think, about 30 beacons in place, and those beacons will be the equivalent of loot chests. So rather than have keys, you will get a scanner, you will put batteries in, you will scan, and then you'll go off on a mission, open up the cache, and inside you'll find maybe a box of nails. In black version. Oh, I threw away my 300 black, didn't I? So yeah, so at the moment it's shit loot because I haven't set it up anything more than the 4 that it comes with. What conditions it in? Worn. Mine's damaged. And then, so that will test that. I've got the missions in anyway, which I can add to. So they're staying in. Certainly they're staying in. That's what we're heading for. Industrial. I've just got to work on the next big thing. I'll be working after... probably on the next wipe, which is 1.30, I've got to get Base Building Plus working, because long term, unless you have Base Building Plus on a server, people will not join. That's it, you know. I'll get 5 people join because it's rag base building and underground, but I'll have 50 people that won't go near your server because they don't like it. And so I'm going to have to bite the bullet and get Base Building Plus working long term. Whether I like it or not, just because people prefer that as a mod. And I have no choice if I'm going to make a successful server. So, that's... And then we can't have underground bases because the two conflict. And I'm not a programmer, so I can't write the override code. So ultimately, that was too easy to kill. Is there a problem with the mod? Are zombies too easy to kill at the moment, John? It's something conflicting is what I'm saying, and it's made them zombies go back to normal. Okay. I love the fact that things ruin on their own. So annoying, but it's good. It's great. I swap those over because that uses up less space than that one. There we go. Most mill Zeds take a small amount of time to kill, not one hit. Okay, good. Because they have to be harder. Otherwise I'll take the mod off and they can run quickly. You know, my choice is either running quickly zombies or harder hitting zombies, not both. I prefer harder hitting. Because when I move them slower, I can add more of them to the map. Have you been to any heli crashes yet? Since yesterday? I'm glad that that's how it's gone. That balance is now right, if that makes sense. Yeah, that balance is now right. Why did we just run away from there and not go upstairs? Oh, yeah, it's just a normal building. Okay. Now they're damaged. Boots are the biggest problem on the server at the moment. And I can't work out the balance right for them. Because I want players to still be able to play it. So I've started adding them to events. I don't want to have it so players can make kits, because it becomes OP. You kill one sheep and you've got 25 kits because of the way that the mods work. So this is a bit more like it. I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? So I just got a message on one of the mods. Give me a second. Okay, nothing to do with this mod. Just check. No, nothing to do with this mod. This is proving a challenge to kill. I'd like to keep the skill mod in place because I think that's useful. I quite like this food mod. It's not too... It gives some extra, but it's nothing amazing. Oh, you are God tier. But you know how long it took me to get one of them. I'd like to have next year the trader back in that does nails only, but it be a black market trader. And I'd like to be, that's the only way of getting nails, is either from hidden caches or from selling stuff to the trader, to force players to go to the trader. Like batteries, the only place to get batteries will be buying them from the trader, because that will mean that code locks, you'll have to keep going back there to keep your base alive, which then gives more of a chance of a firefight. And then have hidden caches where the hidden cache has a box of nails in it, because that's $70, which will give you a choice of you either build or back to trader and buy and use it towards nails. No safe zones, no. I wouldn't have a safe zone. I think you might, if you're going to have safe zones, in my humble opinion, you might as well play a PvE server. If a server's got them, I'll use them, but I won't naturally put one in. If it's a survival server, it's a survival server. It's not a survival server with an area where everyone's friendly and has cups of tea and chats. It's a survival server where it's you against you and a teammate, ultimately, against the world. I think one of the best things I ever did was nails being the currency. And I would have the trader buy things off you, but not sell you a lot. Sell your batteries for your code locks, which would be like 300 nails for one battery, and the only way of getting batteries will be from there. You know, sell you a code lock, where the code lock might cost you 1,000 nails. Still have code locks appear in the world, but certainly nails, the only way of getting them will be from the trader. Or caches, airdrops, that sort of shit. Because I like that mechanic. I think it's clever. I used to live up there on this server. I built a base up that tower. Not this server, on this world. On Chernarus. Show you where. It's a really good location if you've got the time and resources. So, put a code lock on there. put a code lock on there, and then put a platform across there so you can still walk up and down. And I built a box in there that I lived in. Do I have any other emergency food? Because I'll probably die now. I've got the other items I need, but not food. So we still need a hatchet. We still need a code lock. We still ultimately need a sharpening stone. And I might have a new version of an airdrop mod to test later in the week. I don't know yet. I'm going to probably get these ones that we've got working fine first. But it doesn't do airdrops. It does crash C-130s that have a loot container in the back of them. Because that might work for a survival server better. But I can't decide whether I want that or just work on the caches. I realise that players, if they're going to play long-term a server, they want events where they can you thing of beauty. It's sort of better than that, though, because that's pretty shit. This actually has a C-130 crash flying over and crashing, with plumes of smoke coming off it when it crashes. But I can't decide whether I want that or just stay with what I've got. I've got to have a play with the code and see how I think of it. Remember, I'm that one person in DayZ that doesn't rate DRL very strongly, because I recognise it from trying to build servers on it point of view, and what hardware you need to make it run as a PvP server happily. Whereas most people think it's the best map ever, and I can't quite understand it. But yeah, like the DRL mission, it's just an event. It's not a mission. It's yeah, no, I get what you're saying, mate. I do get what you're saying. So what happens is you'll hear a C-130 fly over, you'll see it crash, and then you'll push it, and there'll be an ISO container stuck out the back of it that will have the loot inside. And then the C-130 itself can also be looted. But I've got to see if it's too OP. What I don't want is to end up in a world where we have 50, 60 items on something, because people will just farm it. I want people to find a cache that's got a box of nails in it and a tin of food, or a code lock and nothing else. I want things to be like that world more, if that makes sense. Those though, and that together. Oh, I think we've done enough at the airfield. Let's go off and find some farms. Go code lock hunting, because we do have that which could knock in a few nails with. So we've gone to gas mask only on here, John. So you don't need a full NBC suit anymore. And over the next couple of days, the NBC suits that are in the server will despawn. But it is gas mask and filters. The reasoning for it is gas isn't something that needs a full suit. Radiation is. So gas mask only feels correct. And it means players can carry it on them all the time, but they lose slots. And with the plane flying over, dropping the gas bombs on people and warnings coming in, again, makes more sense. What I'm thinking is, you know, you have lots of slots, but you don't really. And if you think in there you've got a gas mask you're having to carry, filter, three gas masks with a filter and 2 other filters, and maybe a epoxy, suddenly you've filled up all, sorry, not epoxy, an anti, the thing in case you get gassed, that's that filled. You've lost that storage space, and that's just enough to get into a gas zone and search it. So this is a different mod, but same thing. So you'll get a warning on the screen now if you're within 4,000 meters of a town that's going to get bombed. You'll hear an alarm. You'll get a warning. It works slightly different. It won't kill you if you're in there and the gas lands, but it will knock you out. And you'll be knocked out for, I'm not going to tell you for how long. And then you'll come round with no gas mask and dangerous zombies everywhere. But if you search it after a gas has hit, or while the gas is still in, you might find a bomb. And if you find that bomb and you interact with it, you'll find loot inside, which is worth having. So carrying a gas mask and filters at all time becomes worthwhile. As in, what you're looking for worthwhile. So risk versus reward. But I quite like this idea of having little radio beacon caches that we can go searching for to find better stuff. I like it better than the missions. We'll keep the missions in. But I love that idea of you've got like in your hand now, radio beacon on, it's scanning all the frequencies, it's finding one that's nearby, and it's sending you off on a mission to find it. And then you find it, you pick up the loot, and then it waits X amount of seconds before replacing itself. And I can set that amount, and I might set it to an hour, I might set it to half an hour, I might set it to 20 minutes. And I can make the ones that have got the best loot in wait a lot longer than the ones with the shit loot. But also it drinks your battery. And if we're in a world where you're going to need to buy batteries all the time to keep your base alive, you're not going to want to drink your batteries. And that's my thoughts on it. See, I got a nice little 50. Just don't have a mag for it. We need to find a heli crash tonight as well, because I've upped the amount of zombies on heli crashes. And I want to see if it's too OP or whether it works. I've got a few other things to put onto heli crashes yet to play with. But it might mean I need to remove the carpet bombing mod because it will conflict. Where's Mr. Sheep? It's here somewhere, wasn't it? There we go. Hello, Mr. Sheep. Okay, John. How are we on loot? We need a stick. So we need to light a fire. I'm wet, so I've got to carry everything. Joy. So most things are ruined. We're surviving, just. We need an isolated house. That's what we need to cook at. Or building. Housing there. Too near the airfield, really. That's too near town. We're not going to find anything isolated here. So, there's a house. That'll do. Welcome back, John. So one of the things, obviously for next year we'll have a AI-driven convoy that drives around a certain route. It won't be Northwest Airfield only. It'll be a route that takes it into Northwest Airfield. It will probably leave every hour. And the only way maybe of getting scanners will be to ambush that and take it out, kill the AI, and then the vehicles will ruin because of the mod. But the loot inside the vehicles will include the scanner that you need to then be able to get access to hidden caches. But things like that, so it becomes I need to gear up before I hit the ambush point to take out the convoy, to get the scanner, to be able to get the caches, to be able to build a base, basically. Is it ruined? It's damaged. We'll keep damaged one though. Right then. Yes! And that's what I want, is I want that level of hardship. I want players that, the players that do base build, I want them to have to work for it. So, and you're going to have to do all that without a base, is my way of thinking. Because it forces players to make difficult choices. In the same way that the trader would probably have AI inside it that you'd have to fight to be able to get into trader. The end game, whatever I decide to do, would have trader inside it, would have AI inside it for you to fight to get the better loot. Another ruined one down there. Good. Right, use up my lighter. Burn that off. Your server's been making me think, really think, do I want this item? Decision. No wonder I love playing your server. Yeah, I try and force people to make risk versus reward choices all the time. That's what it's about. It's about making players go, what do I want to do? And long term, that's and what I'm using this for. You guys are playing a server, but I'm testing things and saying, would I keep that? Would I not? Can it be used? Will it fit into the world I want to eventually build for people? Knowing that the work that will have to go in over a long period of time to build that world. Like, I want a fully custom trader that I make myself, that has multiple ways in, multiple ways out, that feels right. I want a custom end game. I know where I'm going to build it. I know how I'm going to build it. It will be dark. You'll need MVGs. There'll be AI in there. And there'll be the best loot. It'll be where you get big boxes of nails, like cases full of nails and stuff. But this is like, yeah, it's like a test server for you guys. I'm not going to muck it up for you, but I'm going to add things in that really a chance for me to work on the server. want to go back that way because I've got to see an airdrop, see a heli crash and see whether that's working properly. And the best place to trigger them is over there. And en route, we'll search some of these type of industrial in case we can find a code lock and an axe. So yeah, I want everything to feel progressive. You'll be able to be able to get radios. So your radio and your scanner would be on that convoy. And then when you lost your radio and scanner, you'd need to go and hit another convoy to get one. You wouldn't find them in the world. You'd find them on that convoy. There would be a storyline about them transporting high-quality radio equipment from point A to point B for drop-off or something like that. Because then you're forcing players that want to build bases to make choices. But you run it every hour, the convoy. It drives the same route every time, so you can choose your ambush point once you learnt its route. And there'd be heavily armed AI inside. And the route would have to involve a no-build zone. Because I couldn't live in a world where people would beam people. I know what players are like. They'd build something over the road so the vehicles got caught. And we couldn't have that. No. That needs repairing. Already got a sneaky way to start to deal with convoy involving a couple of claymores. Yes, there you go. So you'd have to find claymores. Yeah? So it's got you thinking that way already. That's what I like. That's fine. Can that be repaired with duct tape? No, I'm not going to use leather on it. So that's fine. They're only worn. That needs repairing. Fine, that doesn't need repairing, whatever. That's okay, that's, yeah. That needs repairing. So tempting. But I've got no way of carrying it and everything else I need. Go on, go behind it. Thank you. And I like doing 70% loot nerfs. I think that's fair. But also leaving everything in like I have this time, apart from combi locks, again, works. giving a low spluttering of storage options around the map on top of your standard ones makes sense to me. So again, forcing players to decide what to carry home. Farm. So we'd have to have no build zones. So all the caches would have to be in no build circles, because I couldn't have people build a base over the top of a circle. Wouldn't be fair. The trader would have to be no build. That was a fucking wank shot, wasn't it? Yes, which is why it wouldn't go the whole map. And I'm reluctant to have... I'd rather say people aren't allowed to build on roads than have an obvious route on a road, because people just choose it because they'll know what that's for, and that makes setting an ambush easy, which I don't want. Because I could have 3 different routes, and every server restart it chose a different route, which would be a better option, I think. I quite like this weapons pack we've got. I'd be tempted to keep this. I don't mind there being one-tappers, because they're hard to get all the bits for. I certainly wouldn't have AI all over the map, but convoy, trader, so BM trader, endgame would certainly have AI in, just because it adds to maybe heli crashes AI, maybe police cars AI. But with so a police car AI would have MP5s. Heli crashes would have USGs or MP7s, something relevant to a helicopter team. Endgame would be 556 and 308 and 762. Black market, maybe a 762-54 with armour on. So you have to really work at it to get in and out, because that's going to be the only place that you can go to get nails. So you want players to be taking a massive risk. I would probably have sleeping bags that you could respawn at base with, but they'd be expensive items to buy from trader only. So you'd be having to keep risking going back in there, selling stuff, making money until eventually you could afford to buy a sleeping bag. And obviously if you're a duo, you have to do that twice. So I don't have a problem with it being a duo server. I'm thinking 50 slots because I don't want it falling over when... Because obviously there's a implication in resources. And myself and Chuckles will build it. The rest of you won't get to see it until it's live, because I don't want to spoil it for people and I don't want to give people an unfair advantage. Third box of nails. So certainly nails, trader nails, makes sense to me. Something that we had in the past with a trader, it worked well. Be nice to do again in the future. Hi there. Welcome. I'm discussing a future server. This is my current server for my members only for YouTube. But I'm discussing a server that a survival server I'm probably going to build next year with John. So John, who's in chat at the moment, will play it. But he's played my servers, not since the beginning, but he has played for a long time now. So he sort of understands my vision. Thanks for the sub, that's appreciated. This is this is a members only server that is a survival build of Chernarus in DayZ on PC. So if you're used to DayZ, it is a 70% nerf of loot. Everything's spawning in ruined apart from jungle boots and combat knives, if you can find them. Building is rag building or underground. No limit on where you build. To get a map, you need to find one. And then you can put your markers down and things. But if you don't have a map, there is no map. Wherever my map is, in there somewhere. We can carry cross bags, so a leather bag as well as a rucksack at the same time. We've got a weapons pack on here. It is a... So I've got 3 boxes of nails now. No code lock. And no hatchet. We've got harder zombies. Though you can take these ones out with 5.56. Limited resources. Lots of guns around and ammo. But you'll never find them together. But I'm discussing a future build, which will be what I'm looking at for next year. Because I'm about to buy my own property. And once the property's bought, then I'm going to build a server. Rather than rent a server like I'm doing now, I'm going to have my own server. Which won't be behind a members only. It'll be open to the world, but it'll be a survival server. So it'll be a harder server, not impossible, just harder. So we have a skills mod on here. It's not as hard as the other one out there, but you get to spend your points, and it's more a survival side skill system. So we're currently looking for a hatchet and a code lock. so I can base build. Would love a sharpening stone as well, but they're like, I think John would agree, God tier. We have missions on here with the radio. You can tune in and do some missions. And I also have a scanner, if you find one, that you can use to find hidden caches. And you search everything, John, so if you're finding difficulty finding things that are needed, and you spend more times on my servers than anyone. And I know where the loot is because I wrote the server files. And if I'm having problems finding it when I know where the loot is, there's also an element of I don't want to go straight to where I know the loot is because it's not right with people watching. Because I want you guys to experience it. It's like I know now where scanners and gas masks are because I changed it today. So I can't just stumble into it, if that makes sense. It would feel too false. Thank you, John. But you've been a long time believer in what I do in DayZ. I just want to get to a point where... Okay, so you don't host public servers. I used to. This one is just a members server currently. Once I get past this year, the next server I make after this one will be a public one. But the reason this is just a members server is I'm testing out mods on my YouTube members, so it's a private server. And I don't think it's fair to do that if I'm opening up to the public, because every time I add something or take something away, you annoy the player base too much. And I can't afford at the moment to rent 2 servers. Not when 2 months' time I'll buy my own property and then I'll have my own server that I'll build from scratch. That's in the property, and then there's less cost implication. I just don't think this time it's fair while I'm testing mods out for a future build, public build, that I do it with people that are just joining. You want to be able to release a server that's ready to go, everything's tested, people can play and enjoy without having that problem all the time. We've all played servers where people add mods all the time and take mods away because they keep tweaking things. And it doesn't work. And I've been guilty of it myself in the past. Because you're like, oh, I just want to add this. I just want to add this to it. Oh, yeah. There's pros and cons to both of it, mate. There's pros and cons to both of it. 100% get that. Why is that door open? John? Are you living in this? You know how much I love these buildings. Yeah, you, but you weren't. Near here is one of my hidden cache areas that if I'm playing a server, I can hide things in. Do I show it off? That is the question. I wonder if it's got one on this one. Yeah. So if you've got a homemade crate, you can place it behind there, underwater. And then you just run up, press tab, and you have access to the stuff inside the crate. Will work on any vanilla server. Oh, we needed to test helis, didn't we? Right, we need to go and find that heli. I need to see if it's got extra zombies on. Right, let's go and have a look for a heli crash. See, this is one of the things about having a private server this time, is I can test all this sort of stuff out on a live environment, rather than... Yeah. I need to find the heli crash. Come on, why can't I climb that one? Stupid game. Oh, can we see this gap, this smoke? That'll be a no. Let's just bimble on. We could be looking for it all day. And yes, I know I can go into God mode and find it, but that really defeats the object of playing the server and trying to work out what I want to do. Still looking for a hatchet. Still looking for a code lock. I know helis are still crashing. I know I've doubled the amount of zombies on them. I know that it will work. I really need to see a gas landing on a place, but I might need to do that in admin mode off stream and force it to land. As I said, that might be removed as a mod, depending on, because it conflicts with something else I want to do. I used to be able, because I used to have heli crashes. When they crashed, 30 seconds later there'd be an explosion over it, and then the gas cloud would come down, and I can't have that if I have the gas mod in, because it overrides it. Yeah, no, I'm not going to, mate, though. Because the minute you do it on stream, people will say to you, oh, you're playing the server and you've got God mode and you use it. Bloody cheat. Yeah? And it doesn't matter me even saying that now. People will say it. And you get a rep for it. So whenever I'm in God mode, it's off stream. Whenever I'm working on the server or doing anything. Which is why I tend to play the servers until I get a base up and then stop playing them. Because I could hit a button now and it would show me where your flag was. Yeah? Which everyone could then see. And that's not fair. So, as much as I like building them and I love playing them, I realise once, at some point, I have to say I can't play my own server anymore. With it being a private server, I can do, because all you guys are aware that I play it. And that's fine. But I have to do it on stream, and I have to be sensible with it. Is that that a normal sewing kit? Look at that. More god tier gear. What do you reckon, John? The other problem I have is trying not to show the password, because obviously it's password protected, which goes out to the members only whenever I do an update or change or whenever I feel like it, just to make sure we're not giving away the passwords. Yeah, and then all my kit's pristine. And now we will keep that mod or a mod similar to it in the future. I like that mechanic. I like the fact that you get that. What I haven't done this wipe is say that you have to have a base to deploy them. In the future, you'd have to have a flag up to be able to use those items. And we would limit players to 2 flags. Because if you build an underground base, you have to have 1 flag above, 1 flag below. Keep your base alive. So you can't limit the people to one flag. What I spoke to you about before with a 45-day wipe, that could be done, but I think that's too hardcore for the majority of players I'd like to get onto a server next year. I think we would have some people that play it, but we would be back in that world of people going, I'm not playing that. It's bad enough going everywhere and not finding loot for players. I might pinch some of the stuff from Lone, where you have less loot tiers and just have stuff spawning. But have the high tier gear spawn high tier and everything else just spawns, because I quite like that. Yeah, and I like 12-week wipes. I like 12-week plus wipes. I like wipes to be long enough that I'm a part-time player. You know, I can't play normally on Tuesdays, Wednesdays or Thursdays, and 2 weekends a month. Slightly different at the moment because what I do is having a break for the summer. I can't play Wednesdays because of work. So I like servers that do long wipes. I like it. I do like search for loot. When I had it in the past, it was bugged. So it's something that I will probably test again at some point. Because it forces players. But I'd like it so there wasn't loot all the time, if that makes sense. She's not a happy granny, is she? So we've got harder zombies on here. They're not impossible. But because I wanted a threat, it works even better at night. One of the things I want to test is they do one where at night their eyes glow yellow, and that might be fun to play with. So what I have on here is 5 hours daylight, 15 minutes sunrise, 15 minutes sunset, and then a very, very dark night. But it would be nice if at night their eyes glowed. Because you'd move into an area, you'd have no torch, no MVGs. Oh, God tier finding food on my server. And you just see these glowing eyes looking at you. So, I know a lot of players are. We use our own version of a skill mod. It's not as heavy as the Teja mod. It's a bit more light. But it fits quite well to this server, I feel. But we do have a skill mod. I agree with having a skill mod. If you're going to do a survival server that's not pure PvP and not like a Call of Duty server, and I play those as well, don't get me wrong. But I like having I like having a skill server. A skill. It's lighter than that mod. A bit more accessible, should we say. That's a far more hardcore, in my humble opinion, version of it. Yeah, it's a chilled version. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. I think the thing is, the word survival in DayZ is really difficult to describe because no one's ever done. No, everyone's idea of a survival server is slightly different. This one I like to not so hard in PvP. Yes, I agree. Yeah. So, what I count as survival is a massive nerf of loot. Things all spawning in damaged. Higher grass, harder zombies. Base building is a difficult thing to do. Finding the resources, getting code locks, getting everything you need. Raiding is hard to do. Small flags for covert builds. Where the next person will say, well, that's not survival. Survival to me is this mod. Why haven't you got it? So it's really difficult. Because everyone's got their idea of what they want. Welcome back, John. And everyone's slightly different. It's the same with every server, though. You know, any server that I play, there's things I don't like on it. You're always going to have that. You know, people that play my servers know, historically, if they need a map, they need to kill a priest. Because priests carry maps. It's something I've always done. And certain zombies blow up. And I always change which zombies blow up, but it's always priests that carry maps. I also try not to restrict people on where they can build. Leaving it up to players to make their own choices. Though I realise in the after Christmas wipe, they should be working this wipe, John. They're not. It's something I need to sort at the weekend. Because they're not popping, and they should be popping. But it might be that BI have changed their code, so I might need to have a play with the code again. So on my server, one of the things, finding a leather sewing kit is hard. It's not an easy item to find, and your footwear spawns in ruined. So what I do is I choose an item of footwear that will always spawn in pristine. I just make less of them available. So jungle boots spawn in pristine. I also make that combat knife spawn in pristine, but you have to find them. So players still stand a chance. if we use it AI in the future, John, we can have suicide bombers that run towards you with vests on and then detonate. And that's where I first got the idea for exploding zombies from. Was pure and simply I wasn't using AI and I wanted something similar. But I would like to have next year's build that's open to the public having that randomly a beep 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 boom scenario. Yeah? No? You don't find it as amusing as I do? I went the wrong way down this tree line, didn't I? Or this fence line. Yeah, so I'd like to have them because... But I wouldn't want them everywhere. That's the sort of thing that you want... You don't want people to get used to it. It needs to be a little bit random. In my humble opinion. Yeah? Otherwise, you know, most AI you've got... Maybe what you would have is you could have... The prisoner could have the vest on and the police could be trying to contain it. The prisoner sees you and runs towards you to explode. And that, in my head, would work because it would feel more... It would feel believable. Before they turned... Box number 4 of nails. I like having a sleep mod. What I won't do is put in the washing mod. A lot of servers have the mod that you have to wash. Otherwise you attract animals and zombies to you. I won't put that in. It's not me. I like the nightmare that the sleep mod can be, but that's hard enough for people, I think. You know, we have limited food, but some other food items, because it's nice to find a can of Red Bull occasionally, or a packet of chips or crisps of your favourite type. See, I wouldn't have that on a server, but I can see why that's funny. That's very PvE, but I like it. I've never seen it. I'll have to go looking for it and look at the code, because there might be something with that I can work with. So I tend to have the sleep mod because I make survival servers. I understand why people aren't a fan of it. What I do is on public servers, I offset it with cans of drink, give you back energy so you don't need to sleep. I do it because it's another mechanic. It's like having the Tedger skills mod. It makes life a little bit harder for players. Yeah. One of the things I've turned off on here, so this mod, you've got the ability of making it difficult for players to light fires using sticks and bark. I've turned that off so they can just light every time they try and light it'll work. Because I got more complaints about that on public servers when I had it than anything else. People did not like it. I want to light a fire, why won't it light? And I've died again. I'm leaving your server, I'm never coming back, and they did it in their droves. Oh, amazing. I wouldn't do it, but amazing that someone did. So we're still looking for a hatchet and a code lock, and we've been looking for about 10 hours so far. Plenty of nails. No hatchet, no code lock. part of the point. Yeah, it's fair. I've got a lovely little Beowulf as my 50 cal, but no mag for it and only 1 round of ammo. Where John has a mag for 1 and no weapon. Yeah, and that's the thing, but I get it. And as somebody that has had public servers, up until this wipe, I've had 3 years I've had public servers out there, survival servers. I'm on my own. It's just me dealing with them. And when you get a lot of support tickets about one item, and you come home from work and you've got 20 support tickets to answer from the same people every time saying, why is this a problem? Has the game crashed? It makes you think, do I really want to run that on my server? We tend to have less players because because I make survival servers. It doesn't appeal to most people. I get that. And this one is a playground one to a certain degree because I'm testing mods. In the past, I've run more edited versions of Chernarus using editor to build them. This time I know what I can do in there, so I don't need to test that. We have put more military Zeds in and police Zeds in, though. I've reduced the civilian Zeds because my police and military are harder, and I like the fact that they're harder. But as with all things, I can only get a feeling for if the server's too easy or too hard by playing it. And it's nice to do that on stream because I get feedback. I talk to you guys and you say, have you tried this mod? Or what about this? Or could you tweak it that way? And all that feedback you guys give me, I take on board. It doesn't mean I'll do it always, but I take it on board because sometimes you'll come up with an idea and I'm like, that's a really good idea. That makes perfect sense. And it's something I would never have thought of. Sometimes it doesn't fit in with my vision of what I want, so it won't happen. Oh yeah, so that's just not block zombies, and all I've done is I've set it only so a single zombie. You've got a 15% chance of a single zombie that's behind a door whenever you open it. Would I keep it long term? Probably not. I don't think it does what I want it to do. Will it stay for this wipe? Probably yes. But long term, that'll probably go. It doesn't quite do what I was hoping it would do. And it looks shit at times because you can look through a window and not see any zombie. And then you can open the door and there's a zombie there. So I don't like that. I'd rather that you could look through the window and make a choice to go in there or not. I don't like things where you open the door and that's when it teleports them in. If you can see through the window. It doesn't feel right. Because I know they're zombies. I know they're not real. But the server has to feel a little bit real. I like on here that if you drink a cup of coffee, you get a short period of unlimited stamina. I love that mechanic. But I wouldn't give people unlimited stamina all the time. I like that I've given players access to vehicles this time round. I think that when 1.30 drops and we get dirt bikes is probably all I'll give players access to. Because it fits into that survival world a bit better. Bottle of Jack. New pair of cargo pants. Newish. I'll stay with my camouflage. And it's raining again. We've done quite well though, haven't we? We've managed to survive an hour and a half with no rain. For Chernarus, it's not bad going. John will vouch for the fact that when I've run traders in the past, I often run them with the currency is nails. And I think potentially in the future that's what we'll do. I like the fact that it's the... I mean, I don't have a trader on this server, but having a limited trader that will buy items off you and sell you very little, and is the only way of getting nails, is you go in there and sell a weapon, and he pays you 4 nails for it, and you're having to save up 35 nails to put a door up. To me, makes sense. And it channels players into kill zones. And it's the end of the world. Currency would mean nothing. Nails and code locks might do. Especially when 1.30 drops and we've got code locks that need batteries to make them work. Having batteries and nails be the only way of getting batteries is to buy from a trader. And the only thing he'll sell you is nails. Or the only thing he'll pay for items is nails. And he'll sell you batteries for an unbelievable amount of money. So again, you're making choices. To me, that makes sense. I hate this barn. I can never be bothered to search it, as we've just seen. I don't know if my not lot zombie is working. John, you've been on today. Have there been zombies behind doors? Because I've not bumped into any on the last hour and a half. So I don't know if the mod is working currently or whether it's failed. I've just got a message. Give me a second, guys. Message read. I'm in the process of potentially, I'm getting my CV ready and covering letters to apply for a new role at work. So I was talking to a friend that's a scientist about what I've written, about whether he approved or not, because he's intelligent and I'm not, basically. I was only in the base earlier building my doors, killed 4 Zeds around, yeah. So I'm not sure if they're working at the moment. We've got to open some doors and see. But I think it needs to be taken out because I don't like the fact that you can look for a window. All these doors are open as well, so it doesn't give a... It's hard to test. And I don't really just want to go around opening doors to test it. I want to play organically. So play it how I would play it. But I'm not... Oh. As John would say, I don't have a choice now. It's sleepy time. Oh, weapons in hand. You're too wet. You're too cold. I expect I'll be on for about another half an hour, John, because I've got a long day tomorrow and I'd like to actually spend some of it relaxing tonight. You know, tomorrow is my 7 in the morning till 9:30 at night day. But I'll send you a message with some, after I finish this, with some ideas that I have for the future server and how my brain's sort of working on it. Yeah, I don't have any on me, mate. Also, I'll talk in chat and throw ideas at you just because I want reaction to stuff. And it's... I realise that you'll come up sometimes with some ideas and I'll be like, I can't do those. But never take that as a negative. It's just, I can't do them. And because a lot of stuff you find on other servers is people that know how to program in C++. I'm not a C++ programmer. So I have to use mods that are already out there that I can manipulate or work with. I can't write the code myself, unfortunately. And I won't do what other people do, which is use AI to write the code for you. I don't think AI is not quite at the point where I'd want it to be writing my DayZ server code. A lot of people do, though. And it works until it doesn't work. And if you write the code yourself, when it doesn't work, you know how to fix it. If you've got AI to write the code and it doesn't work, you've then got to get AI to fix it. But the amount of mods you now find on the workshop that say this mod was created with AI, and you're like, Thank you, John. That's appreciated, mate. We'll wait till we get white sleep, and then we'll get up. For some reason, it's letting me sleep even though I'm damp. Leave AI mods alone. Yeah. AI has its use. Don't get me wrong. AI has its use. It's revolutionized my workplace. Yeah, the Eternity AI worked well. It's done right there. There we are. And that squelchy sound. That'll do, though. It is very much a case of having a headshot these days, though, isn't it? which is nice. Yeah, but they do work well on it. They don't... Spare map. I would probably need to up the amount of zombies on the server longer term. These towns and villages need more. Where's my nearest? Where are we? We are up there somewhere. In stock. Where's my nearest medical? Over there. Okay. We're going to see if the scanner's around. Hi. Hello, Willie. Things are good, my friend. How are you? Alright, let's load up what's left of our 5.56. Thought we had another mag. Did we lose that in a goblin moment? Was it only 3 mags we had? Ugh. We'll need to go 5.56 hunting, won't we? Just walked in from work. You had a good shift, mate? Where's my radio? Does it have a working battery on it? Sort of. Just see if missions are still coming through. Yeah, not too bad. Very hot. Yeah. It's hot for everybody, I think, at the moment. It's hot in the UK. It's hot in the States. Excellent. Radio missions are still working. Yeah, that's a fair point. All my ISO containers. So you know the metal containers that you check on here for loot? I have them at work as stores. They get very warm. They're the sort of things I only want to go inside in winter. What I might do is add to those radio missions a town name. So it'll give you the coordinates, but it'll give you the town name, because trying to write down what they are in the short period of time it gives you is hard work. So it might give you the town name just so you've got somewhere to head towards, because that's going to be easier to find. Yeah, I think I might need to do that. Yeah, put all the town names in. So you could then head in that directory. Yeah, this is my server. So it would make sense. Would you agree, John, on the missions to have the town name? So I can add that to each message. So it might say, go to wherever, whichever town it's called. So we need 556. Because you get a second and third and fourth radio message. But at least if you were heading towards that town, you could tell very quickly whether it was going to work or not. Tissy's white over there. Where's our best place to get ammo? Biathlon's not going to work. Probably extraction zone. So try Cresta, maybe. We are there. So if I walk straight across till I hit the next road and then follow it to try Cresta, prepare to bump into bears. That's okay, Wally. I understand, mate. Don't worry. Next year, it won't be for another year, but next year the server will go back to being a public server. This is a test server at the moment. One of the reasons for having it as a members server is I can test mods that I'm going to hopefully use in the future and test them with real world players. The trouble with having a test server that only I'm playing, I might not get a problem with it. I need more people interacting and doing stuff so I can find out the errors. Yes, fair, John. Willie's all... I get it. I understand completely. Money's... What one person thinks is affordable to the next person isn't. But next year we're going to have this, we're going to make the server public again, but only when I can write the server from scratch and build an amazing experience for players. What I'm using the rest of this year, while I'm buying an apartment, while I'm moving, while I'm sorting things out, I'm using it as a test bed, which is why it's behind a paywall of people that are members. They're aware of what I'm doing, and people understand. If I need to add a mod in or take a mod out, there's a reason for it. If I have a public server and do that, I lose people. Okay, John. I've got So when I move, so when I buy this apartment that I'm in the process of buying, I'm going to have my own server, proper server, rather than rent a server like I'm doing now, because this costs me about 500 US a year to rent this server. I'm going to buy a PC, build it or buy the parts, build a server at home, and we'll have our own server, which I will then use to build a 50-slot DayZ survival server experience, which will then become a public server. But it will probably take me, I probably won't have that in place until October, November to start building it. And it'll take as long as it takes to get ready. It won't be oh, I've got a server, it's up and running in 2 weeks. It might take me 6 months until I'm happy to release it. And then I'll release it. But I won't release it until I'm happy and it's all been tested and I know it's working and all the mods work well together and the balance is there. And I've had a few people test it for me that I can trust to test it, because that's a really difficult thing when you do testing, because you'll say to players, I want you to come on and I want you to do X, Y, Z, and they'll go off and do their own thing. And that's not what you wanted them there to do, so you can't trust them to test your server. So when I open it for testing, there'll be different types of testing. There might be a stress test where it's open to the general public, it's advertised as a stress test. I want to get 50 players on, I want them all running around the map, and I want to see if the map falls over. And I would advertise it as that, and I would try and get 50 players on. And then I would, after the stress test, I would take it offline, take that data, and might spend 3 months altering and playing with it until I get it right again. But when I release it, I want to release it not like we have in the past, where I've released it after a week of testing and gone, yeah, that's good to go, where it wasn't really. I want to release something quite spectacular in the survival world. Survival, base building, end of the world type server. That fits within my vision. Like all these voice over radio missions, I want to rewrite those so they fit into what I want from a server, with the right loot and the right messages. A bottle of JD, which we won't be eating, drinking. I need, come on, there we go. Ruined knife, open up that can. We're looking for 556 now. That's my next problem. The sun's coming up again. That little bit of rain's stopped. I quite like the weapons pack we've got on here. There are some one-tappers around, but they're not, finding them with ammo is hard. I want to have AI on my server, but the bots, but done right. I've got some ideas for them. They're not on here at the moment, because the stuff that I need to do, I can't do on the server I rent, because this server, anything more than 9 AI, it falls over, no matter what hardware you run. So I need to have my own hardware to run it, because I can guarantee I can run more than 9 on a server at a time. Not that we'll probably have more than 9 on a server at the time, but I need to know that it will run it. They won't be all over the map, they'll be in certain scenarios. Things like maybe police crashes, a police AI with pistols or MP5s, so 9mm stuff. Heli crash AI with USGs, so 45s, because it's realistic. Or Colt carbines in harder areas. And then the only trader we'll have will be a black market style trader. And there'll certainly be an AI in there that probably set up with something like, if you go in and with a gun out, it'll open fire at you. But if you go inside without a gun out, another player might try and take you out, if that makes sense. So it's making a choice. And then whatever sort of end game I build. And I don't want it to be labs, in inverted comma, because everyone does a version of labs. But I want an end game for people to go into. And I want some sort of end game loot in there. I want it to be difficult to get to, difficult to do. And I've got an idea, potentially the loot for it. I've just got to have a play with it. But there's things that I need to test, and I need to test it between now and sort of Christmas on here. And then from October, build the other one at the same time. Back got lovely mug of Yorkshire. Excellent. So, John, I have an idea for endgame on the server that goes out next year that I will pass to you, but it really would be endgame. So what would happen is when people completed endgame, that would wipe the server and would be how we could start again. So I just need to run it past you. I can't. It is doable. You could have a server-wide nuclear explosion that wipes out the server and kills everybody and ruins every base. And at that point, we would wipe the server and everyone would start again. And we could build that into endgame, but we'd have to build lots of hoops to jump through to get to endgame, if that made sense. And that's how we could do wipe every time. The person that completed it would get an achievement on the Discord to say that they'd nuked the server. And then everyone would get wiped, all bases, and we'd start again. Does that make sense? So, and you'd have to build a base and gather all the resources and do everything to complete the game. But the minute you completed the game, the server would get wiped and everyone would start again from scratch. Because I'd get notification that there'd been a nuke, and then I would stop the server, wipe the server, and everyone would start afresh. And I quite like that mechanic. It puts a real end game in that ruins everything. And then we could have something on the Discord like, you know, I knew that there would be a Discord role maybe for nuked server, and as those people do it, or duo do it, they get their name in the Hall of Fame. And that mechanic appeals to my sense of humour. Fallout 3 Megatron. You're blowing up that city. Was it Megatron? I can't remember what it was called. But where the big, you were asked to nuke the city. That sort of mechanic. And we'd have a notification that would come up. See my last message. Yeah, agreed. That's evil. I love it. Yeah. So we would have maybe a message that came up on the server that someone is advancing towards the nuclear football. And then every other player on the server, if they want to stop them, would have to go in there and fight them to stop them blowing it up. Yeah. So if you were halfway through base building and you had all the loot you needed, you were really enjoying it, you'd want to probably push that location and stop them. Or maybe push that location and explode it yourself. We probably won't have keycard rooms. Oh, the carnage. Yes, agreed. And we'd obviously have harder AI in there that would be fighting players when they first pushed in and guarding the last room. but the mod's already out there. And I quite like these hidden caches that, instead of keycard rooms, because I can set them on timers so they respawn after so many seconds. And I think I prefer that than keycard rooms. So you find the device and you move around the map, uncovering caches. G28. Is that what I've got the mag for? No spear. Yeah. And I just got to add more caches this weekend. Did we keep any spare 308? We got a little bit. Bit more. We'll swap them over. No mag on that. Damaged. That's damaged. Okay. Ooh. We've got a 7.6254. We'll live with that. Fuck it. I've got enough ammo for now. I want to deploy my pet landmine. I don't mind single loading the 50 cal. Right then. We'll go to our normal hut to lie up at and probably end the stream. John, I will send you a message later or tomorrow. I've got a few ideas to type up now. And maybe I'll open up a little group just for you and Chuckles so I can throw around ideas for next year. And then you can input things into it. What your thoughts are. Yeah, I like it underneath a door. Thank you, John. I'm a fan of landmines, so you open the door and then you work out there's a landmine there when it's too late. And the chances of someone refueling at Tricresta is very, very low, because everyone knows it's a nightmare to reload at. You are the server fanboy. Yeah, there we go. There's my little house up here. It's where I normally live when I'm playing solo on servers. My favourite little spot. It won't be where I'm living on this wipe. I don't even know if I'm going to build a base. I'm running these few days, but I'll be back to Eternity at the weekend. Or when Chuckles... I'm not streaming Eternity, I'm playing Eternity with Chuckles when he's off. And when he's at work, I'll be on here. Or another server. And there's a server out there I might go on and play solo. I haven't decided yet. I need to make a video on Eternity. Hey, Gurmit. It's going well, mate. How are you? I'm still looking for a code lock and a hatchet. But apart from that, I'm doing great. Hey, Gurmit's enjoying it. He seems to be on nearly as much as John. I'm joking, John. No one ever will be on as much as John. I'll pull the stats at the end of Wipe, John, if you remind me, and I'll tell you how many hours you spent on the server. Or will that be frightening? So before I log off, guys, do you want to see this new scanny thing? Should I just spawn in the scanny thing so you can see how it works? Would you like to see the scanny thing? Radio signal, Ujumi flip. Don't know. It looks, it's a scanner. You need to put a battery on it and initiate it, and it will give you, if you're within so many meters of something, you want to see it. Yes, yes, sure. Okay. Object spawner. Got to find the name of it. Let me just look up the name a second, guys. The type's name, not the, like, what the real name is, not what I think the name is. Right, found it now. So, turn it on. You need to find the right frequency. And once you find the right frequency, it will then give you beeps, and you can tune in on the beeps to get to where the cache is hidden. Does that make sense? So yeah, you'll need to go through all the, and every cache has a different frequency. Uh, 14 days, the same as vanilla. So I've not changed anything from vanilla. So rather than have key card rooms, we're going to have radio scanners. As I said, there's only 4 areas at the moment, and the loot is pretty shit. Over this weekend, I will add in hundreds, not hundreds. I'll put in enough all over the map with different frequencies. And because it doesn't scan the whole map, it only scans 5,000 meters. So you have to be within 5,000 meters of a cache and on the right frequency to find it, which will then allow you to then hunt for that you'll get like a beep, 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 and as you're getting closer, it will get beep, 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 until it's a continuous beep, and then you're stood on the cache, and that's where the loot will be. And then when you move away, the loot will respawn after X amount of seconds, and I will set the amount of seconds it's going to be. What I don't want is players to just sit there and farm them, because that would defeat it. So it'll be like half an hour, and then they'll, like a metal detector, yes, like a metal detector, And we'll have that instead of keycard rooms. At the moment, they'll have like a tin of food on it and a box of ammo. But what we'll have by the time I've finished it, it'll be like a box of nails and something, or a code lock and a hatchet, or a sharpening stone and a tin of food. There'll all be things that will make your life on the server better, and that's what we'll have instead of keycard rooms, because I think it probably fits in better with a survival server. And I'll put them into high tier and low tier. There'll be some stuff on the coast. There'll be stuff that, you know, I'm not going to tell you where you can find the RF scanners too, but you'll find them, get a battery in, work through the frequencies until you find one, go off on a mission, undercover the loot. Some will have a spare battery in, some will have a radio to help you do the radio missions. I probably won't put weapons in them or ammo. At the moment there is ammo in some of them, but there won't be once I've set it all up over the weekend. But that's when I can come on in God mode, off stream, and just fly around the map, getting coordinates from in certain little nooks and crannies in buildings. Actually, and they probably won't be in buildings. They'll probably all be outside just to stop people building around it and making it their own cache. Because the last thing I want is you to go, oh look, this one always spawns a code lock. Let's put a door on it. Yeah, now I've got that cache, and every time I've got my radio, I can tune it in and get a free code lock. Because that, again, defeats the object. And then long term, next year's server that's open to the public, the areas, there'll be big circles around Tissy. There'll be a big no-build zone, basically. And in Tissy, there'll be lots of potential caches. Then maybe the airfield, lots of caches. And along the coast, certain areas with caches. I'll probably have to make each of the militaries no-build. And each of the police station areas or something. Probably just military, arguably. Maybe make Salisky Island have caches on it because you're forced to swim out to it. Yep, I don't mind servers that have keycard rooms. I play a lot of them myself. I have done over the years. I always will do. But it's nice to have servers where there's some other method of getting loot that probably fits better. Yeah, I mean, that was lucky, finding a boat with the spark plugs ready to go yesterday. But I've not found a code lock or a hatchet. John, you have, yeah? You've got a 50 Barrett, 50 cal mag. I've got the 50 cal, and I'm single loading. Oh, I've got a mag on it. I lied like a cheap watch. There we go. Oh well, that changes the game, doesn't it? Is it the wrong type of ammo for it? Yeah, that's 50 BMG, and this is 50 Beowulf. I don't mind. I quite like the drone idea. It's not a bad idea. There's the drone that allows you to look at the route before you drive down it. How loud is this? That's loud. Right, throw away that 50 cal ammo because it's heavy. So the radio beacon will be like having caches, I suppose. hidden caches, but you'll need to, rather than just know that they're here, you'll need to have a... Basically, they don't spawn in until the radio is on the correct frequency and you're within... So, if I turn the frequency scanner on now, and I get the correct frequency and it picks one up, the minute it picks one up, it spawns it in. But of course, arguably, you could then build a base near it. And I realise that, which is why long term they'll be in circles of no build. And then radio missions, I'll do what I said, John. I'll rewrite each of the radio missions to give the town name, just so you can head in the general direction and then write down the grid reference next time it appears. So I think that's fair. But it'll be the town name in... as per what the map says. So at Electro, in Electro at Grid, and then give the grid reference in Electro, if that makes sense. As I said, we might have a play with the gas and do that slightly differently. I just need to know, guys, if you get a town that gets gassed, whether the bomber flies over and bombs you or not. And at the weekend, I'll need to decide whether I want to test the airdrop, whether I want to have airdrops in. At the moment, I don't. I think it works without them. But I'll need to fly around the map on Saturday and Sunday, making coordinates and setting things up so there's more than just 4 caches. I want them all over. I want players to be carrying the one that I threw away all the time to work out if it's something they need. So I'm not going to be back on this server now until the weekend, guys. So I'm going to do something for all of you that's nice. My body will despawn quite quickly. So you know where I am on the map. What I'm going to do is spawn a barrel inside here. Put my items all inside a barrel. Whoever gets it to it first gets the items. Is that fair? And that way, when I come on at the weekend, I can come on in admin mode and do various bits and pieces. I'll put that in as well for good measure. I need to keep one of them on me. So I hope people have enjoyed the stream. Gurmit and John, if you're en route, he who gets the barrel gets the loot. Enjoy. Night, guys.